seat and stop trifling with the House. Question number 9, Julie Ann Genter.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question is to the Minister of Finance. Does he have confidence in the Reserve Bank in light of today's official cash rate cut, which has now reversed 75 points of the 100-point hike it made in 2014?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Finance, yes.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Julie Ann Genter.
Does he think that a panel of experts from across the economy, instead of only one Reserve Bank governor, might make better decisions around monetary policy? And if not, why not?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Well, Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Finance, the suggestion that the member makes of having a panel of people making the decision is, I have to say, not the silliest suggestion in monetary policy we've heard from the Greens over the years, and many countries, in fact, do that. But I think the challenge is, though, the way the member phrases, if I may be fair, because I think it's a very important point, because the suggestion is that she's unhappy with the decision that the Reserve Bank governor has made, therefore she would shop around to find a group of people who would make a decision that she agrees with. And the whole idea of having an independent Reserve Bank governor and an independent process is that politicians may or may not agree with that process at some time, but the decision is independent. And on that basis, I could not support the member's proposal.
Supplementary?
Supplementary question, Julie Ann Genter.
Does he agree with the Treasury's advice to him that said, quote, the current single decision maker approach poses risks, and that, quote, on balance, we think there would be benefits to moving towards a monetary policy committee in the future? If not, why not?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Finance, I'm aware of that policy advice. But it is important to note that the New Zealand system has served us very well, I think, over the last 26 odd years. And yes, you could have a change at some point, but again, I think you'd want to do it if you wanted to do it, and it's not a proposal that we're at all considering at this point. If it was something that you wanted to do, you'd have to do it for the right reasons and not because you disagreed. And the member framed her primary question in that she was concerned about what had happened in fact, in the press release today, it's concerned about a mistaken decision by the Reserve Bank governor, and I just cannot agree with that.
Supplementary?
Supplementary question, Julie Ann Genter.
Given the Reserve Bank's own analysis suggests that last year's unnecessary OCR increases will have cost the economy up to $2.4 billion, why is he so complacent about the governance structure surrounding these decisions?
Yeah.
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Well, Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Finance, not remotely complacent, but again, I think the members just, I don't know whether it was wanted to or inadvertently made the point I was making, in that she said that it was a wrong decision last year. And I think that's a very interesting statement to make, because actually, if you look at the situation that was in place last year, a number of those things have subsequently changed. And I think it's very interesting that the member would seek to second-guess the Reserve Bank governor in that way, because they can only make the decisions that they make at the time based on the information that is available at the time.
Supplementary question.
Supplementary question, Julie Ann Genter.
Is the minister aware that we're basically the only OECD country that has this single decision maker structure, and that there's a whole number of other countries that use a broad panel of experts?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Well, Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Finance, I said at the outset in one of my earlier answers that there are different ways of doing it, and acknowledge that, and not saying that you'd never want to move from that. But you certainly wouldn't want to do that just because one or a number of members of Parliament had decided, in their view, that the Reserve Bank governor had made, in quotes, the wrong decision. I don't believe that's happened, and actually that would be the wrong basis on which you'd make any decisions about independent monetary policy.
Point of order.
Point of order, Julie Ann Genter.
Mr. Speaker, I seek your guidance on this. I'm struggling because I don't believe there's been any assertion in any of my questions that implies what the minister is saying that I've said, and therefore is changing his answers.
I think there has been some assertion, because if I go back to the previous supplementary question, the member inserted the words herself, the unnecessary adjustment to the OCR, etc. But the point I think that is fair, on that particular occasion, the question has not been addressed, and I think it's really because perhaps the minister didn't hear it correctly. The way forward is to repeat that supplementary question to the minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Is the minister aware that we're one of the only OECD countries to have this single decision maker? That was the supplementary.
And I declared that I wasn't happy with the answer. It hadn't been addressed. That's it. So I'm going to invite the member to ask it again. I don't expect interjections from the two ministers on my right-hand side. Then the minister can have the opportunity to answer it. Julianne Genter.
Is the minister aware that no other OECD country with a central bank gives so much legal power to a single official?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr. Speaker, as I said previously, I am aware of that, and actually, as I referred to the member in one of my earlier answers, this is on behalf of the Minister of Finance, and one of the earlier answers, that actually there is a range of ways in which that's done internationally, but the basis on which you would change that is not the basis that a number of members of Parliament thought that the Reserve Bank Governor had made the wrong or unnecessary decision in a previous year, which the member asserted in one of her previous questions.
Supplementary question?
Supplementary question, Julianne Genter.
Okay. Given that the only independent review of New Zealand's monetary policy framework since the 1989 Act was put in place, recommended changing the law in regarding to bank governance, and that no other OECD country with a central bank gives so much power to a single individual, will his government consider updating the law?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Finance, I thought I'd answered that previously, but the answer is no. We have no plans to do so at this stage.
Question number 10.